What's happening, fam? L.A.R movement still moving. Book is entitled Lessons from a Non-Custodial Father. At Amazon, Kindle, and Create Space. Link will be in the description box below as usual. Go get it. PayPal link there also to ask me to put it up, so I put it up. Thanks everybody for supporting. But this video is entitled Who Should Settle Down with Single Mothers? In our community, there are more single mothers probably than single women. Okay? And some people get mad that brothers say you shouldn't date a single mother. And I'm going to tell you this right now. If you are a man who has no kids, you shouldn't be settling down with single mothers. You know, I'm not saying single mothers are bad people. You have bad ones though, and we all know this. But your primary ideal dating partner should be someone who doesn't have kids. Period. And I'm gonna tell you, and who should be dating single mothers is men who have children. I have a child. I can't be going around here trying to date women without children. I mean, I can't make that my primary focus. Like, I have a one rule. I got one kid. So either I could date a person with 0 kids, 1 kid, or 2 kids. Either one above and one below. And when I say 0, what I mean by 0 is that's a woman who doesn't want kids. You know, I know women who don't want kids. They don't have kids and they don't want kids. So I can date a woman like that. You know, but that comes with age. You know, when I was younger, I used to hear a lot of girls say that, and this is how some of these girls wind up single mothers. I'm gonna tell y'all this too. Some of y'all say y'all don't want kids, but y'all out here having unprotected sex because you want kids, but you're just lying about it, and then you wind up being a single mother, and then you have all this little story. You know, I know that hustle too. But who should settle down with single mothers is people with kids. And even that has a nuance to it. You know, because one of the reasons why people don't like single mothers that as settle down material or relationship material rather is because too many people have dated single mothers who were bad mothers in the first place. So it's hard to be in a relationship and learn to love somebody who don't even love their own kids, and you can see it. Too many men have come along and actually treated these single mothers' kids better than they actually treated their own kids. This is part of the problem. So if you don't have any kids, I don't want you to inject yourself in that equation and then wind up bitter and upset and not wanting to have kids because you see how it might pan out. You know. Now, you fellas who have kids and you're non-custodial fathers like myself, just because your kid don't live with you don't mean you get to go around with you know, well, since the kid don't live with me, you're going to still have responsibilities to your child. And here's the thing. If you wind up meeting a woman who actually wants to do for your child, because if you date a single mother, which you should, because you're in that boat, so you should date in that boat. Which you got to see if she's invested in your child just like she wants you to be invested in her child. Because all this nonsense about, you know, my child is taken care of, most men who've dated single mothers already know this. That's what they mouth say. You know, they say their child is taken care of, but it's gonna always be something, whether it's, you know, implicit or implied, rather, or just overt, with them saying they want you to do something that their child can benefit from. So, been down that road. Pretty much most of us have. So if you meet somebody who's like that, if she does things to include your child that isn't living with you anyways, that says something. You know, who else should settle down? You know, people have the good single mothers and the bad ones. If you're a good single father, get with a good single mother. If you're a bad single father, you get with a bad single mother. Because you know, a lot of times people like to latch on to people who are doing better than them, and they become vampires and they suck the life out of other people because they're trying to get away from their own mess that they've created. You know? And, you know, one of the other reasons, if you got multiple kids and you got them by different people, that should be the demographic you start with. Men and women. And I'm going to tell you why. Because, even, you know, it's difficult to deal with somebody who you're looking at them as like, what kind of decisions was you made? Okay, I made a decision and I had a child and I didn't get married. Okay, but you had, but I'm able to still be functional in this situation. How are you dysfunctional in this situation, and how do you become a 2-time, 3-time offender of being ultra dysfunctional? And, you know, people want to latch on to other people. Well, you know, you're going to help me. No. You know, and why I say, you know, because some people just want to have a stressful life so they can have sex. And this is how some people wind up with multiple kids, is because they're trying to run from the stress of being a parent under these circumstances, and sex is their release. And on top of that, unprotected sex is their release. So they're going to hook you into their dysfunction by getting you pregnant, or getting pregnant by a person, or trying to get pregnant on purpose by a person. So stay in your same group lane. If you know you ain't shit single parent, you stay with ain't shit single parents. You know, this is why I reiterate that people without kids shouldn't date people with kids, because they don't have any problem making children. And part of the reasoning behind it is this: they'll drag you into having a child with them because they already have a child with somebody else, whether they like them or dislike them. They don't have a problem doing that to you if they already did it to somebody else. You know, and sometimes, in some cases, if it was done to them, they don't have a problem doing it to somebody else, in a sense as to get back at the universe by throwing another person under the bus. Which, don't set yourself up for that. You know? Now, age does come into this factor, because as you get older, some people realize they don't want children as they get older, and some people have baby fever as they get older. So the waters get murky, because, you know, some people are not telling you that some people will tell you up front, I want marriage and kids, and some people will tell you up front, you know, I just want to have sex. But they're trying to have sex because they have baby fever. And anybody will do. You know, so, and this is why sometimes you get these people in their late 30s, or early to late 30s and early 40s popping up with kids, because they just ready to get it in. You know, because now all of a sudden I'm ready to be a parent now, but at the expense of somebody else. This is why I say, you know, So be careful for that when you single and you don't have kids and you dating people as you get older, because they might try to snag you into being a single parent even though you didn't want to. So like, share, subscribe. Catch y'all on the next one. Peace.